Before we cross into the unknown, leave a hello in the comments. Even the smallest signal can ripple across galaxies, guiding fellow wanderers to this tale. Let me know you're out there. A voice among the stars, listening with me beyond the veil. Engines roared. The hangar trembled as our fleet rose from the shadows. Ships built not for peace, but vengeance. For centuries, the galaxy believed Earth had been erased, scrubbed from records, abandoned to myth. They celebrated their peace. They forgot their betrayal. But we remembered. And tonight, as the Council's brightest world burned in silence, humanity answered the call. I, Admiral Cade Veros, watched my command bridge light up with tactical feeds. One vanished world was only the beginning. They thought history could be rewritten. They were wrong. Admiral, my XO reported, Council chatter is chaos. They have no suspects, yet. I smiled grimly. No suspects were exactly the point. Ghost fleets leave no evidence. They'll learn soon enough, I said. Before me stretched the Aegis Armada, humanity's exiled fleet. Dreadnoughts bristling with stealth armor, carriers housing Blackwing interceptors, cruisers cloaked in lattice shielding. Every system was engineered to remind the stars of what they buried. Signal the fleet, I ordered. Phase 1 begins. Let them feel the fear they once gifted us. The stars would remember Earth tonight. We called it the Silence Protocol. A single strike, precise enough to erase a world in seconds. No wreckage, no survivors, nothing to trace. For decades, we perfected it in exile. The Council's destruction of Earth had taught us one lesson. Mercy dies first. When they came for us, they called it justice. When we return, they'll call it terror. As my flagship, Eidolon, slipped into folded space, I felt the engines hum like a predator ready to kill. Target acquired, whispered Tactical. The holotable bloomed with the image of a Council relay station. Thousands of lives below. Thousands who never questioned where humanity had gone. Execute silence, I commanded. One pulse. Reality fractured. The planet simply vanished. No screams, no debris, only an empty orbit where life had been. My crew stood in silence, awed and horrified. I let them feel it. They needed to. Mark it, I said coldly. The first reminder. History had erased Earth once. Now, Earth erased history. Council worlds spiraled into paranoia. Entire fleets scrambled, but their technology lagged centuries behind ours. Theirs was a peace built on ignorance. Ours on exile and warcraft. Every intercepted transmission confirmed the truth. They didn't know if ghosts, machines, or gods haunted them. They don't even suspect humanity, my XO laughed bitterly. I nodded. Good. Fear is sharper when it has no face. On the bridge, my officers argued strategy. Strike more worlds or remain shadows. Vengeance or patience. I let them speak before cutting through. We wait. Panic will do more damage than war. I tapped the holomap, showing dozens of Council sectors glowing red. But prepare Phase 2. Let them think shadows stalk their borders. My voice hardened. When they finally see us, it will already be too late. Not all agreed. Commander Vera, a veteran of Earth's last stand, stood at my station. Admiral, ghosts can't win wars. They'll adapt. We need to strike openly. Remind them who we are. Her voice carried pain. She lost family to the Council's purge. I understood her rage, but rage doesn't win campaigns. Strategy does. You'll have your war, I told her, but not until the galaxy drowns in doubt. I opened the comms to the fleet. Brothers, sisters, hold steady. Remember Earth? Remember the fires that consumed our home. Every world we erase is not vengeance, it's justice. Silence followed, broken only by the steady hum of engines. The crew knew we were no longer exiles. We were executioners. The council convened an emergency session. We tapped their feeds, listening unseen. "Entire planet's gone," one chancellor shouted. "Who dares such power?" Their fear was intoxicating. Another whispered, "What if? Humanity." The chamber fell silent. Even the word itself was poison. They'd sworn never to speak it again. "They remember," my exo whispered. I smiled grimly. Not enough. My eyes fell on our next target, a fortress world, seat of their archives, the place where Earth's erasure began. "Set course," I ordered. "Tonight the galaxy rediscovers its history." Engines growled beneath my feet as the fleet turned. For the first time in centuries, humanity advanced toward the stars not as prey, but as predators. Our fleet emerged from folded space above the archive world Cryan Prime. The Council believed it untouchable, ringed with defense satellites, shielded by layered ion walls, garrisoned with fleets. They hadn't faced us. Commander Vera smirked. Finally, a challenge worth remembering. I felt the same fire, but this wasn't about bloodlust. Cryan Prime housed the records, proof of Earth's betrayal. If we erased it, the truth vanished forever. If we claimed it, the stars would see. "Admiral, infiltration wings ready," reported Tactical. Ghost black corvettes slipped into orbit, cloaked against detection. "Proceed," I ordered. Screens lit with sabotage, satellites exploding silently, shields collapsing like torn fabric, entire fleets blinking out under silent strikes. The Council never saw us coming. Vera whispered, "They'll know it's us after this." I didn't flinch. Good, it's time they remember. The first Council fleet dared to stand. Their admiral broadcast across all channels. "Who commands these shadows? Face us, cowards." My crew stared at me, waiting. I let the silence stretch, then activated comms. "This is Admiral Cade Varus of Earth." Gasps rippled through the bridge. Even my officers hadn't expected it. Across the void, the enemy froze. Humanity had spoken. "Fire," I commanded. The Eidolon's spinal cannon ripped through their flagship in a single beam, carving the vessel apart like paper. Enemy formations collapsed instantly. Some fought. Most fled. The Council had its answer. The galaxy now knew the truth. Humanity lived, humanity returned, and humanity had not forgiven. We landed troops on Cryan Prime. Black-armored soldiers stormed the archive citadel, plasma cutting through reinforced doors. I watched through helmet feeds as ancient vaults opened, shelves of crystalline data glittering. "Admiral, the Council tried to erase everything," one Marine reported, "but they failed." My chest tightened. Holograms of Earth, cities, oceans, families, flickered to life. A forgotten home, preserved in secret. "Transmit to the galaxy," I ordered. Our fleet broadcast the images across all frequencies. Every world, every station, every system now saw the face of humanity. Not shadows, not whispers. Truth. The Council had lied. They had tried to erase us, and the universe would never forgive them, nor would we. Council worlds rioted. Armies mutinied. Fleets fractured. Every message we intercepted confirmed the collapse. Humanity's name had become a spark, but sparks can ignite infernos. "They'll unite against us," warned my XO. "You've just made us the galaxy's enemy." I leaned over the holotable, tracing sectors glowing with rebellion. "No, we've made ourselves the galaxy's reckoning." Commander Vera laughed darkly. "They feared shadows. Now they'll fear fire." Outside the viewport, the human fleet stretched like a blade across the stars. Our exile was over. Our war had begun. Yet deep within me, a whisper lingered. Had we unleashed vengeance or destiny? The Council's high seat broadcast across the stars. Humanity has returned. They are terrorists. They are extinction incarnate. Unite or fall. Their voice quivered despite the performance. Fear laced every word. My crew watched silently. "They call us terrorists," Vera said bitterly. I shook my head. "No, they call us inevitable. We had the silence protocol. We had the fleets. We had the truth. But truth was a weapon harder to control than any beam cannon. The galaxy now knew of Earth. Some would ally. Most would fear. And somewhere in the chaos we created lay the answer to a question that gnawed at me. Had Earth truly been erased? Or had something darker survived there still? Whispers spread faster than fleets. Entire species that once cheered the Council now questioned them. "If they lied about Earth," one intercepted senator said, "what else have they hidden?" Chaos worked in our favor, yet unease coiled in me. The silence protocol was powerful, but it was also too perfect. We had not built it alone. Its origins lay in a vault buried beneath Earth's ruins. A vault none of us truly understood. On the bridge, Vera studied the tactical map. "Admiral, the Council's fortress fleets are gathering near the Dravic Expanse. 50 ships at least." My crew stiffened. For the first time, the numbers weren't in our favor. I touched the cold steel railing, feeling the eidolon thrum with restrained fury. "Then we test the silence on their armadas. Prepare Phase 3. The Dravic Expanse was a graveyard of broken moons and gas storms, perfect for ambushes. Our fleet slipped between fractured asteroids, hulls cloaked. Beyond, Council warships floated like giants of steel, weapons primed. My officers stared in silence. The galaxy's first true battle since Earth's fall was seconds away. "Engines on whisper. Hold formation," I ordered. The tension was electric. Then, without warning, the Council opened fire, beams tearing through the dark. They had found us. "Cloaks compromised," shouted Tactical. I grit my teeth. Somehow they had pierced tech they weren't supposed to understand. A voice flickered across comms. "Humanity. You should have stayed buried." Not Council. Something else. And it knew us. "Shields up." The eidolon shook as plasma fire rained down. Cruisers flared, interceptors scattered. For the first time, we bled. "Return fire!" I roared. Our dreadnoughts spat lances of energy, slicing Council destroyers in half. Fighters swarmed, weaving through debris. Silent hunters turned into screaming blades. The void burned. But amid the chaos, I saw it. Council vessels moving too sharply, their systems too efficient. Someone had enhanced them. Their shields flickered with latticework designs almost identical to ours. "Admiral," Vera whispered, horror in her eyes. "They have our technology." My blood ran cold. Earth's secrets hadn't been forgotten. They had been stolen. The battle stretched into hours, neither side yielding. Every silent strike erased ships, but their countermeasures blunted our advantage. My crew fought like demons, but I could feel the weight. This was not the same galaxy we had left. They had been preparing, waiting, for us. "Pull back," I commanded. "Phase withdrawal." The words tasted like ash. We had never retreated before. As our fleet slipped into folded space, I studied the wreckage fields. Human design twisted into alien steel. Someone had betrayed us long before Earth's fall. Someone had fed them our brilliance. And now, our return had awakened an enemy that knew us better than we knew ourselves. In the silence after battle, the bridge felt haunted. Officers patched wounds, counted losses, whispered doubts. Vera slammed her fist against the console. "They shouldn't have that tech, Admiral. The silence was ours. Who gave it to them?" I said nothing. I had seen the same latticework centuries ago. In the vault beneath Earth. A vault sealed, not abandoned. I turned to the fleet. Set course for Sol. Gasps rippled. No one had dared return to our cradle. "Admiral, Earth is ashes," my XO protested. I met his gaze. "Ashes don't bleed secrets. Someone's been guarding them. And until we know who, this war is already lost." Engines ignited, and for the first time in centuries, humanity began its journey home. The Sol system emerged from folded space, scarred yet familiar. Planets lay adrift, their surfaces burned or mined hollow. And there, blue no longer, Earth floated as a dark husk, half its crust shattered. My crew stared in silence. For centuries, we had dreamed of home. Now it was a grave. "Admiral," Vera whispered, "what did they do to us?" I clenched my fists. "We'll find out." Scans cut through the planet's broken mantle. Beneath collapsed continents and seas of ash, something pulsed. Not natural, not dead. A lattice of energy coiled through Earth's veins, humming like a machine. My XO's voice cracked. "Sir, the planet's alive." No, not alive. Guarded. We descended through the broken sky in stealth corvettes, piercing storms of black ash. Earth's surface was silent, bones of cities scattered like ghosts. But deep beneath, signals bled through, coded transmissions older than any Council design. "These aren't ruins," said Tactical, scanning. "They're locks." My stomach sank. The Council hadn't destroyed Earth. They'd buried it. At the ruins of New York, we found it. A sealed vault door spanning miles, etched with glyphs that weren't ours. Alien and human, intertwined. My soldiers stepped back, uneasy. Vera touched the cold surface. "Admiral, it's waiting. For us. For centuries." We cut through the vault door with plasma drills. The air that escaped was dry, ancient, yet humming with power. Inside stretched chambers of crystalline halls, machines humming, lights flickering as though waking from a long sleep. My breath caught. "This isn't Council. It's older." The crew exchanged nervous glances. If not the Council, then who had built this? At the core lay a chamber of stasis pods. Thousands of them. Each pod contained a human, preserved, frozen, untouched by time. My heart stopped. They had said Earth was erased, but here, humanity still slept, and someone had chosen who would wake and who would burn. My hand hovered over the console. A single command could awaken them. My XO whispered, "Admiral, if we wake them, what if they're not like us?" He was right. Generations had passed. We were forged in exile and war. These humans, they might still believe in peace, in mercy. Could we even call them kin anymore? Before I could answer, alarms screamed. Vault defenses roared to life. Automated drones, sleek and black, far more advanced than even our fleet. They weren't attacking the Council. They were targeting us. My blood ran cold. Whoever buried Earth hadn't protected it from aliens. They had protected it from humanity. The chamber exploded into chaos. Drones fired lances of plasma, cutting soldiers apart. My men fought bravely, but these machines were perfect predators, faster, sharper, unrelenting. Vera screamed through comms, "They're not defense drones, they're executioners." My gut twisted. The vault wasn't a tomb. It was a test. We retreated into the crystalline halls, dragging the wounded, firing desperately. As the drones closed in, one of the stasis pods lit up. A figure stirred within. Human. Alive. Ancient eyes opened and locked on me through the glass. Then, with a hiss, the pod opened. A voice older than war whispered, "Admiral, you were never meant to return." The figure stepped from the stasis pod, skin pale, eyes glowing faintly with lattice light. Not merely human-engineered. My soldiers froze, unsure whether to fire or bow. The figure looked at me. "You carry the fleet," he said softly, voice resonating like machinery. "You carry vengeance. That was not Earth's design." My hand tightened on my sidearm. "Then whose design was it?" He smiled sadly. "Not the Council's. Ours." My blood chilled. This was no victim. This was one of Earth's architects, those who had chosen exile, chosen silence. And if he had survived, what else had they hidden beneath the ashes? Outside the vault, war erupted. Council fleets closed on Seoul, hundreds strong. Our armada scrambled to intercept, outnumbered 10 to 1. On the Eidolon's bridge, my XO's voice shook. "Admiral, they're coming with everything." I watched the swarm of red markers flood the holotable. The Council wasn't afraid anymore. They wanted annihilation. I keyed into fleet-wide comms. "Stand firm. Seoul is not just a battlefield. It's proof we lived. If Earth falls, we fall with it." My words steadied them. Yet even as our cannons roared, a darker truth gnawed at me. We might not be fighting the Council alone. Back in the vault, the engineered human, who called himself Arik, walked among the stasis pods. "We built the Silence Protocol to end war, not to erase worlds, but to hold them still." His fingers traced glowing circuits across the floor. "But your kind turned it into annihilation. That was inevitable." His tone was calm, resigned. Vera snarled. "You gave the Council our weapons." Arik shook his head. "No, someone else woke before me. Someone took what was never theirs." He turned his gaze upward to the surface. "If you keep fighting as you are, Admiral, you will awaken them fully." My throat tightened. Them. Arik's eyes glowed brighter. "The true architects, the ones even we feared." The battle above Earth raged. Our dreadnoughts shredded Council lines, but their numbers pressed harder. Entire sectors lit with wreckage, beams carving through the void. My fleet fought like wolves cornered in their den. Yet as tactical reports flooded in, one anomaly stood out. Council ships moving in perfect synchronicity, as if guided by a singular will. Too perfect, too coordinated. "They're not just fighting us," Tactical gasped. "They're being directed." I zoomed the holofeed. Buried within their formations pulsed a black silhouette, an unregistered warship, cloaked in lattice energy eerily similar to ours. My gut sank. Someone else commanded this war. Someone who wanted us and the Council both destroyed. In the vault, alarms blared. More pods flickered, systems awakening on their own. Arik's expression turned grim. "You've triggered the failsafe. They will rise now, with or without consent." Vera raised her rifle. "Who are they?" His reply was soft, almost mournful. "The First Fleet. Not soldiers, wardens." On the bridge above, the Council's mysterious warship unleashed a silence strike. Not at us, not at them, but at the battlefield itself. Entire fleets blinked out, human and Council alike, erased in an instant. Gasps filled my bridge. I finally understood. Earth hadn't been destroyed to erase humanity. Earth had been locked away to keep the wardens from waking. And now, they were stirring. Pods cracked open one after another, hissing mist across the crystalline vault. Soldiers raised rifles, but Eric lifted a hand. "Stand down. They will not kill without reason." The figures stepped forth, tall, radiant with lattice veins glowing beneath their skin. Not entirely human, not entirely machine. Wardens. My crew whispered in fear. I forced my voice steady. Wardens of what? Their leader answered with calm authority. "Of truth, of consequence. You should not have come back, Admiral." My gut tightened. We weren't their enemy. We were their mistake. Above Earth, our fleet staggered under the assault. The mysterious Council warship pulsed again, folding reality into silence. But this time, its effect rebounded. The skies shimmered, energy dispersing in fractal waves. The Wardens had activated something deep within Earth. The silence was no longer theirs alone. My XO shouted over the alarms. "Admiral, weapons failing. They're overriding systems." I stared as our dreadnoughts flickered with alien code running across their hulls, like veins spreading infection. The Wardens weren't just awake. They were taking control. Back in the vault, the warden leader studied me with unsettling calm. You were forged in exile. You believe vengeance is survival. That path ends in extinction. Vera spat. We didn't choose exile. You let it happen. The warden's eyes dimmed with something almost like sorrow. Yes, we did, because humanity was not ready. I stepped closer, lowering my weapon. Then tell me, who stole our technology? Who gave the Council the silence? The warden's reply was colder than space itself. Not the Council, one of your own. A survivor who never left this place. The revelation cut deeper than any wound. Betrayed not only by the Council, but by our blood. My officers muttered in disbelief. Could it be true? Arik nodded grimly. A traitor woke centuries early. They fed fragments of silence into the galaxy. That is why the Council rose. That is why Earth burned. My mind reeled. Humanity hadn't been erased by aliens. We had been undone by ourselves. Above, the mysterious Council warship broke formation, its lattice pulse aligning with Earth's own energy grid. It wasn't Council tech. It was human. My heart froze. The traitor's legacy still commanded fleets. On the surface, wardens advanced through the vault, activating systems long dormant. Holograms bloomed maps of stars, records of civilizations erased before us. You thought you were the first betrayed, one warden said. You were not. This galaxy has always buried its failures. My crew stood in silence, the scale of it crushing. Then the ground trembled. Earth itself awakened, lattice veins glowing across continents like scars igniting. Alarms rang through my comms. Admiral! My XO's voice broke. Earth is powering a weapon. Something colossal. I realized then the wardens weren't just guarding the past. They were preparing for judgment, and humanity had just triggered it. The surface of Earth bled light. Lattice veins crawled across continents, converging at the equator into a burning ring. My fleet struggled in orbit, systems flickering as Earth's pulse disrupted our engines. Admiral, we can't stabilize, my XO shouted, but the wardens only watched calmly. Do not fear. This is not destruction, their leader said. This is judgment. In the council chamber, panic reigned. Senators shouted over one another as Saul's broadcasts showed Earth igniting. It's a superweapon, one cried. Another whispered what none wanted to say. What if it is not theirs? What if it is older? Their fear was not of humanity. It was of what Earth had always been. I stood at the vault's core as Earth's hum deepened. Machines older than memory stirred beneath us. Vast gears of energy shifting like tectonic plates. Arik leaned close. You think you control the silence, but the silence was never meant to be a weapon. It was meant to choose. His words chilled me. Choose what? Who lived? Who ruled? Who deserved to exist? Above, fleets clashed in chaos. Human and council vessels alike were caught in Earth's pulse, weapons sputtering uselessly. Then, without warning, a massive projection spread across the stars, a map of the galaxy, with sectors glowing red one by one. Judgment zones. My officers froze. Earth wasn't targeting enemies, it was measuring everyone. The Council's high seat broke down live before billions. We must unite, she screamed, against humanity, against Earth, against whatever this is. Her words carried no strength, only terror. Worlds turned on one another, fearing they might be marked next. Old rivalries erupted overnight. Humanity's return had fractured their peace, but Earth's awakening was shattering their order. On the Eidolon's bridge, I stared at the map. Entire regions glowed crimson. Others remained untouched. The silence wasn't random. It was judging civilizations. By what standard? Vera whispered. Arik's eyes glowed faintly. Survival. Worth. Continuity. Earth remembers those who betray. It remembers those who destroy. and it never forgets. Then Earth spoke. Not words, but a pulse that resonated through bone and steel alike. My soldiers clutched their heads, voices cracking with fragments of thought not their own. A memory, not mine, flooded my mind. Civilizations erased before us, entire species silenced, their names forgotten. Earth had done this before, and now it weighed humanity. I staggered, gripping the console. "It's testing us," I rasped. "We're not wielding the silence, we're being measured by it." My XO paled. "If we fail," Arik answered for me, his voice low, heavy with regret. "Then you vanish, like the rest." Alarms screamed across the vault. One stasis pod cracked open violently, spilling sparks and shattered glass. A figure emerged, not calm like the wardens, but burning with fury. His voice tore through the chamber. "Enough waiting, enough judgment. Humanity will not kneel to ghosts." Arik's face fell. The traitor's eyes blazed with lattice fire, body pulsing with raw silence energy. My soldiers opened fire, but beams bent around him like water. He laughed. "You think the council betrayed you? I betrayed you, and I will finish what I began." Earth shuddered beneath our feet, as if answering his call. Judgment had awoken not one master, but two. The traitor stood tall, veins burning with lattice fire. His presence bent the vault's walls, making steel ripple like liquid. My soldiers faltered under the sheer pressure. Arik whispered his name like a curse. Kalen. Once a commander, once human. Now, something else. Kalen smiled. The council feared humanity, but they feared me more. That's why they buried Earth, not to erase you, but to contain me. His words shattered everything we believed. If true, Earth's destruction wasn't betrayal, it was desperation. Vera raised her rifle anyway. "Contain this," she snarled, firing. Beams struck, but Kalen walked through them untouched. "You've learned nothing," he said softly. "But don't worry, I'll teach the galaxy what humanity truly is." Above Earth, fleets reeled as a surge of lattice energy erupted from the planet, disabling both council and human ships alike. Then new signals bloomed across the void. Black warships, ancient and sleek, rising from Earth's crust like shadows reborn. They bore no insignia, Kalen's fleet, hidden for centuries. My XO gasped. "Sir, he's had ships here all along." Kalen's voice cut through all comms, echoing across the system. "The council tried to erase me. You tried to forget me. But I endured. And now I will finish their lie by burning their peace." His fleet opened fire, not on council lines, not on us, but on both. The system lit up with betrayal made flesh. The wardens advanced, forming a wall between Kalen and the stasis vault. Their leader spoke calmly, though his face was strained. "Kalen seeks dominion, not survival. He will unmake the galaxy to crown himself its god." His words tasted of truth, but my crew's eyes darted to me, waiting for a choice. Ally with the wardens, the very ones judging us, or risk Kalen's war without them. Vera snarled. "We can't trust either. Wardens want us leashed. Kalen wants us enslaved. We fight for ourselves, Admiral." Her voice carried the fire of every exile. Yet, as Kalen's fleet ripped through council destroyers like paper, I knew the decision could not wait. The galaxy was choosing sides, whether we were ready or not. Council command fractured. Some worlds swore allegiance to Kalen's promise of order, desperate for protection. Others called for the extermination of all humans, fearful of what they saw. The High Seat broadcast in desperation, "Unite or be erased." But no one listened. Her words drowned beneath Kalen's thunder. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy had not one enemy, but three. On the Eidolon, I stared at tactical feeds. "Admiral," my XO said, voice shaking, "we cannot win this. Not against the Council and Kalen both." I tightened my grip on the railing. Then we make them bleed each other first. Humanity doesn't bow. Humanity survives. My voice steadied. Prepare the fleet. Phase 4 begins now. Kalen himself descended into the vault, his presence burning like a sun. Wardens struck at him, beams colliding, shaking the ground. He laughed, absorbing their fury. You were my brothers once. Now you are relics. He extended a hand, tearing a warden apart with raw silence energy. My soldiers recoiled in horror. He wasn't just wielding silence, he was becoming it. I raised my comm. All forces, converge on Earth. This ends here. The void above filled with fire, human dreadnoughts, council fleets, warden constructs, and Kalen's Black Armada clashing in a storm of annihilation. The first galactic super battle had begun, and at its heart burned the truth. Humanity's greatest enemy was one of our own. Engines screamed across the void. The Eidolon's hull shook as Kalen's black ships cut through council formations. Our dreadnoughts dove into the chaos, firing precision volleys. Explosions lit Earth's orbit like a false sunrise. My XO shouted over alarms, "Admiral, Kalen's using lattice bursts. He's destabilizing gravity wells." The battlefield itself bent under his power. I slammed my fist on the console. "Target his generators. Blind him." Vera growled. "We'll need to get close for that." Too close. Still, hesitation meant annihilation. On my command, half our fleet punched through the carnage, diving straight into the maw of Kalen's storm. Humanity's gamble had begun. Beneath us, the vault became a slaughterhouse. Wardens fought Kalen hand to hand, beams of silence colliding with his warped fire. Arik shouted, "Fall back," as Kalen hurled a shockwave, bodies scattering like ash. He moved like gravity itself bent for him, inevitable, crushing. "You are shards of an old order," he sneered. "I am the new law." I steadied my rifle, though my hands shook. "You're no law," I spat. "You're just another tyrant in human skin." His gaze met mine, and for a heartbeat I felt centuries of rage pour into me. Then he smiled, and I understood. He didn't just want the galaxy's submission, he wanted humanity's worship. Above Earth, the first dreadnoughts burned. Kalen's fleet carved through council destroyers with weapons decades beyond their tech. But humanity struck back. Our frigates weaved in, jamming lattice bursts with silence-hardened plating. For every one of ours lost, 3 of theirs followed. My comms officer cried, "Admiral, Warden reinforcements inbound. They're not here to save us. They're targeting everyone." The void split as Warden constructs arrived. Colossal, bladed monoliths firing pure silence into friend and foe alike. 3 sides, 1 battlefield, no mercy. "So be it," I growled. "Bleed each other dry. We'll outlast you all." Orders cascaded. We would fight like wolves in the storm. Inside the vault, Kalen raised his arms, drawing in raw silence from the warden corpses he'd slain. The air turned brittle, reality itself fracturing. "See it," he whispered. "The truth of humanity. Unbroken, unbound, infinite." His voice echoed in my skull, breaking thought into static. Soldiers screamed, clutching their heads. Arik staggered to me, bleeding from the ears. "He's broadcasting into us. If he wins, he'll own every human mind." My stomach clenched. This wasn't just conquest. It was assimilation. I lifted my rifle, whispering to the men, "Then we kill him before he kills what makes us human." The orbital war reached fever pitch. Council fleets imploded under Warden fire. Kalen's armada darkened space, devouring both sides. And yet, humanity endured. Our dreadnoughts pressed forward, engines spitting fire, cutting a path through annihilation. The Eidolon charged its main rail, aimed at Kalen's flagship. "Target locked," my XO said. "Fire," I ordered. The railgun tore through the void, a spear of light striking Kalen's ship. For one blazing second it seemed to shatter. Then his laughter filled every channel. "Good," Kalen purred. "Strike harder. Show me you still remember how to fight." His ship reformed, alive with silence. The war had only just begun. Explosions carved through orbit. Human dreadnoughts collided with Kalen's black armada, beams slicing metal like paper. Council fleets scattered, their cohesion broken. Yet Kalen moved like a phantom, his flagship weaving through fire, absorbing attacks as if nothing could touch him. My comms echoed with screams. Shields failing. Engines offline. I clenched the console. Deploy interceptors. Target the lattice cores. Vera's fighters launched into the maelstrom, darting past exploding wrecks. Each strike seemed to wound Kalen's ship, but only for a heartbeat. The void burned with every volley, humanity fighting a force a century beyond understanding. Beneath Earth, the vault quaked. Wardens surged to intercept Kalen's wave of corrupted constructs. Arik shouted over the din, "He's converting them, turning allies into weapons." Soldiers froze as human-looking machines obeyed Kalen's will. Faces twisted into anguish before firing on our own. Kalen stepped over the chaos, unharmed. "You cannot kill what you cannot comprehend," he intoned. I raised my rifle, shaking. "Then we learn, and we fight anyway." Around me, my soldiers rallied. A living wall against entropy. Even against impossible odds, we would not bow. Above, Earth itself joined the fray. Lattice veins pulsed across continents, generating storms that rippled into orbit. Kalen's ships glowed in resonance with the planet, their hulls strengthening. "He's linking to Earth," Tactical gasped. "If he synchronizes fully, we lose everything." I stared at the battlefield, a nightmare of light and shadow, realizing this was no ordinary war. This was the planet itself fighting for, or against, us. Vera gritted her teeth. "Then we hit the source." I nodded. "Prepare boarding teams. We're going down there." My officers hesitated. Earth's core now a living weapon, but duty overrode fear. Humanity's survival demanded it. Inside the vault, Kalen activated a massive crystalline interface. Energy surged, shaking the floors and walls. "Behold my legacy," he whispered, lattice veins glowing brighter than any star. Around him, constructs trembled, wardens faltered. My soldiers took position. "For Earth," I muttered, "for humanity." And we charged. Blasts tore through the chamber, beams of raw silence clashing with our rail-mounted disruptors. Kalen laughed, his voice echoing like a storm. "You fight to preserve what you never understood. I will show you your true history." Every strike, every footstep, felt like defiance against inevitability itself. Above, the super battle reached an apocalyptic scale. Council and human fleets decimated by Kalen's synchronized assaults. The Warden constructs shifted, now targeting both humans and Council ships indiscriminately. Stars themselves seemed to flare under the lattice pulse. Every tactical move required split-second precision. One mistake meant erasure. I gritted my teeth, eyes locked on Kalen's flagship. "He's not just a soldier," Arik warned. "He's the weapon." My hand hovered over the main railgun trigger. "Then let's prove we are still human," I said, voice low but unwavering. The fleet held its breath. Earth trembled beneath our feet. And at the heart of it all, Kalen's laughter promised a reckoning beyond war, beyond vengeance, beyond history itself. The vault shook violently as Kalen activated the final interface. A beam of lattice energy shot skyward, connecting with Earth's core. My soldiers were thrown to the ground by shockwaves. "Admiral!" Vera screamed. "He's synchronizing with the planet fully!" I gritted my teeth. This wasn't just war. This was an apocalypse on the brink of awakening. Outside, the fleets faltered. Ships twisted in orbit as Earth's pulse tore through systems. Council fleets collided with each other in panic. Kalen's Black Armada glowed with unmatched power. I realized the truth. The final weapon wasn't a ship. It was Earth itself, channeled through Kalen. Inside the vault, Arik seized my arm. "We have one chance. Disrupt the lattice at the source." His voice trembled. I nodded. Teams spread across the crystalline conduits, firing disruptors and cutting through energy channels. Each strike shook the ground, but Kalen's laughter only grew louder, more unhinged. I raised my rifle, firing directly at him. Energy clashed against energy. "You think you can stop me?" he snarled, lattice veins flaring like molten light. I gritted my teeth. "We don't think. We act." The vault hummed, reality bending around us, our defiance colliding with inevitability. Above Earth, fleets were caught in a maelstrom. Human dreadnoughts fired blindly, trying to pierce the lattice shields. Warden constructs clashed with Kalen's forces, but the traitor's synchronization with Earth made him nearly untouchable. Tactical reports filled my bridge, shields collapsing, hull integrity failing, casualties rising exponentially. I clenched the railing. "Prepare the railgun. Target his interface with the planet. One shot, one chance." The Eidolon shuddered as engines charged. My crew braced for the impossible. Humanity had never faced a battle like this. Not against fleets, not against gods, and certainly not against its own past. Inside the vault, Kalen's form flickered between human and something alien, bound to Earth's lattice. Wardens were cut down, energy spilling like waterfalls. I raised my disruptor and yelled, "Now!" Explosions erupted along the conduits. Earth's pulse faltered briefly, sending shockwaves across the planet and into space. Kalen screamed, staggering. "You cannot!" His voice cracked, revealing fear beneath the fury. "You are not supposed to survive." My rifle's sights aligned on the core interface. "We do what humans always do. We fight," I said. The vault trembled as our actions began to pierce his synchronization. Above, the fleets paused in stunned silence. Earth's pulse faltered, sending a ripple through all ships. Kalen's armada wavered, black ships flickering under disrupted lattice energy. Wardens regained control, forming a defensive wall to stabilize the planet. Humanity had done the impossible, forced the weapon to hesitate. Inside the vault, Kalen fell to his knees, lattice veins dimming. "No. This cannot." Arik stepped forward, voice steady. "It can, because humans survive where others fail." I lowered my rifle but didn't relax. The war wasn't over. But for the first time in centuries, the future of Earth and humanity hung not in silence, but in choice. The void fell silent. Kalen's black armada drifted in pieces, lattice energy fading into darkness. Warden constructs stood motionless, their judgment paused. Human dreadnoughts floated battered but alive. I exhaled, feeling centuries of tension drain. The galaxy had not ended, but it had been remade. On the vault floor, Kalen lay restrained, lattice veins dimmed but still flickering. "You survived," he whispered, eyes blazing with stubborn fire. I stepped closer. "Not just survived. We endured. That's what humanity does." Around us, the vault hummed softly, Earth itself seeming to breathe. Arik surveyed the vault, relief tempered with caution. "The Wardens will not forget, but neither will they harm those who proved worthy." Vera knelt beside the injured, her fingers trembling. "Admiral, we've reclaimed Earth, but at what cost?" I gazed at the skeletal cities, the scars of centuries. At the cost of remembering. That's always the price. Outside, the council was broken. Some systems surrendered, others fled into the unknown. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy now knew it. Earth was not lost, not erased, and not to be betrayed again. Our presence would be felt. A quiet warning burned into every star. We rebuilt the vault's defenses, sealing it once more, but this time as a sanctuary, not a tomb. Arik stood beside me, gaze steady. "You've changed the galaxy, Admiral. But Earth will always be a test. Remember that." I nodded. "We will, and we will teach the stars not to forget humans exist." Vera surveyed the horizon. The oceans had returned to some semblance of life, cities slowly emerging from the ash. Humanity's first step back into the galaxy was tentative but real. "We're home," she whispered, and for once I let myself believe it. The wardens departed, leaving Earth in peace, for now. Kalen remained bound, a warning to those who sought power beyond human comprehension. I stared at him once more. "You wanted to remake everything," I said, "but the galaxy isn't yours. It's ours. All of us." His smirk faded. The silence was absolute. Across orbit, fleets rallied under our banner. Humanity's voice returned to the stars. No longer whispers, no longer shadows. For every system that had forgotten us, for every betrayal buried, we would remind them. We had survived history. And now, we wrote the future. Engines roared once again, this time not for war, but for return. Dreadnoughts cut through Sol's skies carrying supplies, explorers and diplomats alike. Humanity reclaimed its home, but also claimed its place in the galaxy. The scars remained, yes, but so did the fire of survival. I stood on the bridge, looking at Earth's horizon, feeling centuries of exile in my chest. "We survived," I whispered. "We endured. We remember, and we will never be forgotten again." Around me, the crew nodded, eyes shining with hope and determination. Humanity had returned. The galaxy would never forget. The end. Thank you for watching AstroMyths. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, cosmic mysteries, and mind-bending myths. And if you like this story or have a myth, mystery, or galaxy you'd like us to explore, drop your ideas in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the unknown.